Hello, friends. I know it's uncomfortable when people you care about are fighting. Don't worry, it's going to get worse. I mean, look, it's important for the plot. So, sorry. If you want to see us fight for real, check out my Patreon because apparently that's where I put the real cage match. Patreon.com/Ashley Clements, cage match. Ashley and Mary Kate. You don't know. Maybe it's true. Check it out. My name is Ashley Clements.
My name is Mary Kate Wiles, and you are going down. Get ready.
On the look back.
Diaries.
Diaries.
Diaries. Oh,
I can't. I mean, look, I can't really. I got an elbow.
There you go. And
I don't know how to fight, and I'm
so.
okay with it. I did once get certified in unarmed stage combat, so I know how to pretend slap, punch, kick. Yeah. You don't actually kick them though. That's the trick of it. You just make it look like you're kicking them, and then they react like they're kicked.
That's incredible.
I know. Again, Hollywood is pretend. We're just giving away all the secrets here.
You really are.
So we're in the middle of a fight, and things just escalated a lot.
Or they're about to.
Right. But timeline-wise, no, wait, now I'm going to check. This episode aired on December 20th. Dear Lizzie went up the day before. Yeah. So, and what we are referencing that you will hear us talk about shortly is the most crossover episode in the history of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, in as much as we actually play the Lydia Bennet on the Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
Do we? Or do you just watch it?
No, well, yes, but audio. You hear some of the audio.
Right.
No, it's a great device to like we have tried many times to point people to the Lydia Bennet.
Lydia's videos.
Right.
Jeez,
like
Louise.
You have bribed Lizzie to say it a bunch of times or blackmailed Lizzie or whatever. And here we are really creating like, oh, you want to see the whole thing? You need to click over here. In this case, it's a matter of which playlist you're looking at, right? Mm-hmm. But like if you're just kicking back and letting a playlist play.
Sure.
There is a complete playlist.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, Lydia's not for everyone, and I totally get that.
Sure. Well, and to be fair, when we first started doing the Lydia spinoff, it was because there was such a response to Lydia, and it felt like we couldn't have that energy just disappear. Mm-hmm. But nothing essential to the plot happened over there.
Right.
I mean, also then, like, that's sort of depends on what you're considering the plot, because I do have a very Lizzie-centric view of the plot, sure. And I think that's understandable. Everyone has main character syndrome, but Lizzie is literally the main character. But from Lydia's perspective, obviously there's more to her story than just what unfolds on Lizzie's videos, and it's also sort of part of that whole, like, making her a whole person.
Yeah.
But if you are really just here for like the Pride and Prejudice of it all, then what is to come is the most sort of Pride and Prejudice related. We don't know what is happening with Lydia and Wickham in that time. We just find out that they've run off together and then it takes a while to find them in the book. But we don't have Lydia's perspective in the book, so we don't know what has happened there, but it is very much a part of the story that they are together and something is happening. It's sex.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. I mean, honestly, it's not necessarily sex. Like, I suppose people could debate about it, but the appearance of sex is enough to ruin a woman at that time. So just like she ran off with him, whether or not they actually did anything is irrelevant. But I've definitely seen film adaptations kind of insert a scene in which we see the two of them like shacked up somewhere. All of the stuff with Lydia and Mary having their adventures is the invention of LBD, but Lydia and Wickham is a part of the main plot of Pride and Prejudice. And so that is going to happen in an enhanced way on the spinoff. And so here we are really going, go over here, go over here. I mean, we're talking about it and they haven't seen it. Let's take a look at the episode.
Let's look.
So Christmassy.
Festive.
I know. I used to love that shirt. I felt real.
It's cute.
Thanks. Thanks. It's obviously anthropology, and it was called the painter's
Of
top,
course.
and I just remembered that. And then I was called it the painter's top. I guess it was supposed to look like, I don't know, a smock that I'd gotten paint on.
That's funny.
I liked it.
We'll see
And,
about that.
oh, I think something might.
I think so.
Predictably has been panicking that yet another year has gone by
And this is like
daughters have gotten married. Sure, Jane got a
literally
promotion,
nothing.
and
I mean,
finished
obviously,
degree.
like,
Lydia's actually been attending
this
school,
conversation makes sense, but
alas,
I'm just
Right.
waiting for this to be interrupted because that's not what.
and therefore, costume theater, you can be dad.
Oh, she mad.
She's so mad.
Oh, come
She
You were so mad.
yeah, I am. Peace out. Hey, I'm
Peace
not
out.
staying here unless you have something to say to me. I already told you I didn't mean it the way you took it.
It's not an
No,
apology.
Lizzie.
Wrong answer.
My Hello Kitty pants.
I know. I love that it's Hello Kitty pants in this.
I don't know how many times I have to tell her I am just trying to look out for her.
Yeah, I mean, we still see this all the time in the world, but people have a really hard time acknowledging that they have done anything wrong and just saying that they're sorry. Like, I don't know why our society is built up around this whole that it's better to be like, well, I didn't mean it that way, rather than just to say, I see I've done harm. See, here we go. But so we had to put this in later because you hadn't filmed it yet. So that little audio
I'm sure
bit.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then we just held on this. Like, it was interesting we didn't put a jump cut there because that feels like this long.
I don't know why
moment.
I waited so long to come in.
Because you had to walk from her
Get up
room.
from wherever I was.
Now I'm real mad. It's a real
Too
mean video.
mad.
If you haven't seen it,
It is-
I'll link below.
it is
But
mean.
it's real mean.
Well, I assume you'll just cut this part out anyway. Wouldn't want me embarrassing you in front of your new hate BFFs, Darcy and Caroline. Hi, guys. Stop that. Oh my God. Did I forget to think before I spoke again? My bad.
Still on my reel.
Not on your videos anymore. That's not even what I want. You're the one who's making it into this. Oh, don't act all
There's-
innocent. You started
wait.
this. Not
It's coming.
maliciously. It's not
The meanest part.
trying to hurt you, Lydia.
Scary.
Yeah, well,
Yes, like
don't worry. Soon as Christmas is over, I'm headed off
Oh,
to Vegas
no,
for New
it's
Year's, where people
up
actually
and
appreciate
down,
my
so it's
epic
really
ability
gonna
to
come
go,
out of
"Oh,
nowhere.
yes, I am."
Ah!
I
Like-
love your face.
I definitely like played into it for camera, but like my surprise was also like somewhat genuine because I was like, oh shit, she gonna do that? Well, then I'm genuine,
Mad.
like whoa. And then this is so mean. Rachel's very good at writing really mean stuff. She's like, I understand how to write an insult that will like actually get to the core of your insecurities. Like, oh, that's a skill.
Pretty mean. Oh, I forget you just end it.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting too is that like we have watched so many months of episodes of Lizzie dismissing Lydia, insulting Lydia, I mean the whole show starts with her like calling her a stupidary slut. So many instances of dismissing her, not taking her seriously, and that is at the crux of this misunderstanding, right? That Lizzie is like, I just got you a helpful thing and can't acknowledge that, okay, I can see how that could be hurtful. I can see how that would, But so we have this setup of Lydia's anger being very justified and understandable and hurt, right? Anger is almost always, covering up hurt at the base of it. And that's totally understandable. And then she does something that's pretty awful herself. That's And you know, and Lizzie does make the point, like, I wasn't trying to hurt you. She still doesn't apologize properly, but this is like a malicious act by Lydia. What do you think?
I just remember people really hashing it out in the comments. Some people were really on Lydia's side, and some people were really on Lizzie's side, which was pretty interesting that we managed to, I don't know, I like that we managed to get people
Yeah,
to
I mean,
feel strongly about it one way or the
it's
other.
a good argument if you can take both sides of it, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Like, that's
Lydia is certainly not expressing her hurt and feelings in a
right. No,
proactive way.
they
But
both ultimately
again,
behave badly here.
necessary for plot. So
Necessary for plot. Right.
I have a very vivid memory of being in a movie theater in Arkansas at home for the holidays, watching seeing The Hobbit, and knowing that Dear Lizzie was going to go up on Lydia's channel, and being so nervous about it because I knew how mad people were about to get at Lydia, and I felt that personally, and I was nervous about it.
Yes, she behaves badly, but it's understandable that she was that hurt, you know. I think it's very well written because the misunderstanding is very understandable. It's a lot of understandings. Yes, you can take both sides. Let's see if the comments are taking both sides. You know, unfortunately, there's no easy time machine back to what they were saying exactly 10 years ago. But, well, Amira Cooper just says, I love how people actually discuss this storyline like it hasn't been out since 1813. Yes, but
I mean,
you
it was
didn't know how we were going to
different.
adapt it. And to be clear, there's no like major Lydia and
No.
Lizzie fight at this point. We invented that
No.
because
Yeah.
the public nature of the show meant that it was very difficult for Lydia to go off and have like a secret affair without Lizzie knowing. I mean, like, how do we tell this story in the sort of, you know, constraints that are built into this public vlog format? And they needed to not be speaking. Jay talks about writing the tweet in which Lizzie unfollows Lydia.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so had I. But we needed the device of them not speaking. But I want to find comments about the fight. Nico141212 says, isn't Lizzie kind of dealing with this the same way as Darcy did? Lizzie doesn't really apologize to Lydia for hurting her feelings because she thinks she did a good thing that then misfired. It's the exact same thing as with Darcy. He thought he was looking out for his friend and he saw no reason to apologize even if it misfired. Yeah, that's a fair comparison. They're both terrible at apologies. Everyone, let me just tell you how much your life can be improved by learning how to apologize. This fine lady says, an interesting thing I've noticed is people blaming Lizzie for not picking up on how much Lydia looks up to her or otherwise being mean to Lydia. Lydia herself never makes it clear to Lizzie that she admires her. Lydia has often put Lizzie down. Yes, that's true. Calling her a nerd, a bore, and pointing out the things that are wrong with her over and over. Lizzie cannot be blamed for not looking past this, just as Lydia can't be blamed for taking offense at Lizzie's gift.
See what I'm saying? Everybody was picking their side.
Krista says, I didn't mean it the way you took it. That ain't an apology. Correct. Jules says, this is my first time watching the series, though I've read Pride and Prejudice, and yes, I've been watching Lydia's videos too. Honestly, I think I'd like Lydia a lot more if I didn't read the comments. It's absolutely exhausting how everyone views her as an innocent little angel and completely crucifies Lizzie. It's complicated. Lydia isn't faultless. Come on, people, you're overcorrecting with the empathy. It's so interesting. That was just a year ago.
Hilarious.
But what is true is that like a lot of these top comments are people who've seen the full arc.
Yeah.
You know, like I would love a time machine that just takes me back to, because like I can sort them by newest and scroll all the way back to the oldest is the only way that I would know how to get these in. But here's one from 9 years ago, which actually might be 10 years ago because YouTube calls it 9 years ago up until the day. So Barbara Chen says, Lydia is immature even if 21 is the party age, but Lizzie is also immature in a different way. She doesn't even try to get to know people before judging them. And even though Lydia is her sister and has been for nearly her whole life, Lizzie completely dismisses her and never tries to get to know Lydia before dismissing her. On the other hand, Lydia is an adult and has the right to make her own decisions, and Lizzie has the right to want to look out for her little sister. This argument is so great because they are both at fault, but also justified.
Well, there you go.
Oh, interesting. Ingrid getting in here saying a lot of the blame also rests with their parents. Sure, Lizzie
Ooh.
giving that kind of book as a birthday present and in front of the camera was wrong. I also think she should have apologized, even if she didn't mean it the way Lydia took it. I agree. If you cause someone emotional pain, on purpose or not, you should apologize. This is true. Lydia's reaction, however, was extremely childish too. Yes, etc.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just a long comment. Where's the parents part? Oh my God, this comment's so long. Sorry,
Well, it's okay.
it shouldn't be Lizzie telling her these things. It should be her parents. If they were raising Lydia properly, and setting boundaries from the start rather than just letting her older sisters clean up after her, things would probably have never gotten this far. So yeah, the parents shoulder a lot of the blame for things going this far if Lizzie didn't feel like she has to be the one keeping Lydia under control / teaching her responsibility. This rift would not have been caused. Ooh, Ingrid, I don't agree with all of the things that you just said. Well, because we are in that narrative, we are buying into the assumption that Lizzie has presented, right? That the way that Lydia is living is not okay.
Right, yeah.
And that has to do with, like, yes, we are imposing in some ways some of the, like, 1813, because the social
Standards.
mores of that time are, like, built
Yeah.
into this story. There has to be a sort of judgment on that. What are the judgments that we've heard against Lydia? Like, she's been called a slut, which is essentially just like a slur against women, right? Like, we don't have an equivalent for men because it's not an insult for men to be sexually promiscuous. So there's a puritanical kind of like having sex is bad or having too much sex is bad, having a certain amount of sex. And like, I very much come from that generation of people, and it's not just generational, but it's like the culture. It's why calling Lydia a slut at the beginning of this series 10 years ago didn't even ping for me as problematic, because I didn't grow up believing that you had to like save sex for marriage, but there was this undefined amount of sex that was okay to have. The absolute impossible standard as a woman of living somewhere between prude and slut. And there's like no actual definition of this, right? It's just vibes. And we've assigned this slut vibe to Lydia, but it is just vibes, aside from being extremely not sex positive, sex negative.
I would also argue, not that, again, any amount of sex is the right amount, but I don't think Lydia is actually even having as much sex
Right.
as everybody seems to think she is. She doesn't actually seem to be off doing that much most of the time.
She's not constantly, like, she's sleeping in Lizzie's room. We do not hear constantly that, like, where's Lydia? I don't know. She didn't come home last night. We never have that conversation.
Yeah. And many times when there's like joke about her doing sexual stuff, it turns out she was actually doing something else, like crafting or whatever. But again, not saying that that's better or worse. It's just like, to this person's point of Lydia being a mess. Like, is she really? I don't
Right.
know.
I just want to point out that, like, the premise of the assumption that Lydia is a problem is
Yeah.
an assumption that should be questioned. And, like,
Yeah.
we're a very tell, don't show, but Lizzie is an unreliable narrator.
The assumption that Lydia is a problem is part of the issue at hand, is that she thinks everyone views her as a problem.
This relationship is the most psychologically interesting in the Lizzie Bennet Diaries,
Absolutely.
between these two
Yeah.
sisters who love each
I
other but
agree.
don't see each other. But I think that they are so similar, and that has a lot to do with what they're fighting about. That things that Lizzie does not like about herself, she sees reflected in Lydia, and she's attacking those things in Lydia rather than confronting them in herself. I don't even know if I thought about it as much then as I am clearly thinking about it now, but you can see why this storyline was so impactful. We'll get to it when we get to it, but we heard a lot about the impact that this had on sisters. It's a very well written story, and you can see how it becomes something that people start to see in themselves and then have to deal with that realization. Much more to come, obviously. While Lizzie will not be watching The Lydia Bennet in the following section, you absolutely should. This is when
You can do it.
it gets real plot heavy. It also, I guess, content
It
warning
will be
is
uncomfortable.
it does feature a lot of emotional manipulation and abuse.
But some good acting, certainly by Wes.
And
Possibly
his
by
face
me.
is there.
And that's
So
not so bad.
that's always a treat. And it's emotionally resonant to the story. Well, I look forward to having you back to discuss the aftermath of what's going to happen.
Oh
on
boy. I
The
was
Lydia
about to
Bennet.
say I can't wait, but it does get heavy. So I don't know if that's the correct feeling, but I will be looking forward to discussing
Yeah.
that when we get there.
As actors, we like doing the drama.
That's true.
Too.
We certainly do.
I love to make
And
them
I
cry.
certainly did. Certainly did.
Indeed. And we'll talk about it.
Well, thanks for having me, Ashley.
Yeah. We'll see you in a little over a month, I guess. I think. is when
Okay.
you return.
Don't watch my videos.